To Sanjali Ekatpure, doctor. Yeah.
Hello. A very good evening to all of those attending from US and a pleasant morning for Indians. So I hope we are having a very good time today. And thank you at this outset, Team Instaheal, to give us this opportunity to work on this preventive care, which is great work in these days. And I also would like to thank Dr. Geeta and Dr. Shilpa for their enlightening presentation. Can we move forward with the slides? Yeah. So, as we all know, we have rightly moved from the olden age to the modern age, and we see women stepping out of homes for every single reason. So, it is not any of the field that we have left behind. And with all of that, we carry the whole lot of burden because, in some way or the other, we are taught from our childhood that women need to multitask. We have to be the Adi Shakti, managing everything in and out. So, what happens during all of this together? So, there is a lot of compromisation that is done on the self of a woman's body. It might start as early as an adolescent child, because we see into our homes also that girl childs have a lot of responsibilities and boys are comparatively kept a little apart from their interests and work profile. So yes, you can click on the slides because there are certain, yeah. So everything that comes up with managing your work and home profile is the increasing stress that we see in these days, which is causing a lot of hormonal imbalances. As our two physicians have already told us how things are affecting our lives, it's time to have a behavioral change into our daily routine. Can we move forward? Yeah. So, talking about health issues, we have a lot of data saying that the modern world is moving towards economic progress. We have so much of technology in hand, yet there is a steep rise in all of the health conditions, all of the sufferings that we are going through, and no age group is devoid of it. So if you look into the post-lockdown period, even the children have not been spared out of it. So there is so much of childhood obesity and adolescent problems that are coming up that we actually need to look into it from a very different perspective, as in not curing the disease only, but going to the root cause of problems, what is causing it, and how can we really get rid of it. So there are major lifestyle disorders that both of them have already spoken. We also have a lot of pre-diabetes, diabetic patients, hypertension, premature aging, even the ovaries and the regular menstruation of women are affected in the early 30s. That is what I come to see with my daily practice here in India. And of course, we have a data globally also. So there are other conditions which are depending on how your body is responding. There might be any functional defects, like a lot of acidity will cause you gastroesophageal reflux. There is inflammatory bowel syndrome. All of these conditions together are making our problems really worse today. Can we move forward? So the crux and the core of the issue is, how do we manage all these things? So prevention, as it is said, that an ounce of prevention is always better than a pound of cure. So we really need to work on these parameters of work-life balance, time management. When it comes to time management, we should have a proper planning in terms of your house management and your work time also. We need to segregate it separately, because working from home has obviously given us very much extended working hours, and we don't have time to prepare our meals. So that is where we compromise. We make our meals for once in a day and we serve it for next 2 times in a day, or maybe for more than 2 days also. There are few females who say that we just cook so much and we keep it in the fridge. So it is all about how we are not finding time for ourselves. Third one is the healthy boundaries, where we talk about everything that we are dealing, right from our relationships, our workspace, our colleagues, our friends. So it is always wise to understand what is it that is pulling your energy down. So we can always fix those problems by keeping ourselves at a safe pace. The quality me time that we always talk happens only when you prioritize your health goals. So you need to work on your hobbies. You have to have some time in a day where you are just doing nothing. So it could be an act of meditation, listening to music, going out and walking. All of these things are going to help us a great way. And health goals, obviously everybody has a different set of complaints. So depending on your disease condition or whatever existing problem is, you can always work for your self development. Next. Yeah, so the role of nutrition is much more than what we think of what to eat and how much to eat. So here we are dealing with very different sciences today, where nutrition is actually responsible for changing the genetic makeup of our cells. And otherwise also, we also need to think on our cooking practices, relate to what times we are eating at, in what mindset we are eating at. So all of that is actually counted into nutrition science. And it is just not the food plate and just not the macronutrients talking about carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. That is not the story now. Everything is completely changed because we are looking at a holistic approach of providing balanced meals according to personalized bodies. Like, it has to be customized. There is nothing general that we can do. Next. Yeah, so as we come to what to manage with our foods, we will move ahead with some do's and don'ts. So, as we all know, we have at least 7 food groups that are known to us and pertaining to your area, wherever you reside, what is available best. So, you have to make a choice obviously out of it. We don't want any packaged, canned, and ready to make mixes and gravies and rice. All of those we don't want. So firstly, we would focus on the protective food group, that is the fruits and vegetables. This is one thing which is going to help your digestive system clean, functioning properly, and also giving you a lot of antioxidants, fiber, and vitamins, minerals. Because when we say fruits, we are eating them in a whole form. We are not processing them in any way. So those are the best things to have. But yes, when to have fruits is a different question. We don't want to combine fruits with any of the meals. As Dr. Shilpa also said, we don't want it in the form of fruit salads, milkshakes, or after a meal. There are many people who say that they have their fruit plate after their dinner, so it cannot be taken as a dessert. That is one thing. And vegetables, yes, cook them to a least amount. Don't overcook them, and try to have a variety of seasonal vegetables, whichever are coming. It might be green leafy vegetables, other vegetables, roots and tubers, your garlic and onion. Everything have medicinal properties. So next, talking about carbohydrates, yes, these are big game changers these days, and these are talked lot about everywhere, because our meals were so much heavily loaded with carbohydrates. If you see the Indian meals, and if you see the Western diet also, which is called the SAD diet, the American diet, it has so many refined carbohydrates, breads, and here we have our rotis, chawal, bhakri, pasta, noodles, everything. So that is the major role to change these days. So have your whole grains in the form of unsieved flours. I will prefer people buying the whole grains and then making their own flours, rather than getting all those Ashirwad attas and all those ready to mix attas, because everything there is commercialized, and we have a whole lot of preservatives, additives, and combinations, so that your roti becomes so instantly soft that you just love it. But then there are hidden things behind it. So there has to be a variety in your grains also. With your basic routine of your wheat, you can also add millets, that is jawar, bajra, ragi, and we also know things like foxtail millet, those are very less in carbohydrates. So we always focus on a variety of grains. We also have whole legumes and pulses. Now, legumes are the sprouts which we are soaking and sprouting them properly so that there is a lot of B complex and vitamin C into it. So these things have to be there in our diets. Uh, Talking about proteins, yes, there is a big talk all around that has to be a very high protein diet. And we really don't, I mean, I personally don't support on these facts, because proteins are required only up to a certain percentage of energy in the body. So you just cannot keep your meals loaded with so many animal products. Dairy and cheese and butter and all those things also are included into this. Now, talking about healthy fats, yes, we need oils, because we are an Indian base. We need the tadkas, we need the sorted vegetables, and everything has to be there. You know, the mother style or the grandmother style. Although we are eating pastas and pizzas outside, we want our meals to be like, very tasty with masalas and spices. So we need to rethink on our cooking practices. The oil content has to be as low as possible. If you're cooking for people in the family, you need to count your oil in terms of teaspoon. 1 teaspoon is 5 ml, and you need to put only 4 teaspoon for one vegetable for 4 people. So that is very clear. And of course, don't use any hydrogenated fats, any trans fats that are coming from any processed or packaged foods. So next we move to, yes, in fats, we also have nuts as a very good exchange. So oil seeds and nuts are a very healthy source to be added. And when it comes to women, we always need these micronutrients, which are keeping us into proper functioning. So we want the zinc, the chromium, the selenium, everything that comes into our basic feminine functioning. So next we have the hydration. When we all know that our bodies are much made of water, 75% of water. So how much of water are we drinking throughout the day? I talk about plain water. There shouldn't be any colored beverages. There shouldn't be any cold drinks, soft drinks. And into fluids, we can focus on coconut water, buttermilk, vegetable soups, and obviously a big no for fruit juices, the canned fruit juices, because they have a different story to explain. And when we are focusing at weight loss and certain health issues, we don't want any homemade fruit juices also, for that matter, because for 1 glass of juice, you need at least 4 fruits, and that increases the fructose by 4 times. Next. So this is a big no list, which we all know. I think we all have a great idea about what foods are good and what foods are not good. So the idea of why don't we adapt to this is, I think these days the malls and the stores are so fascinating that if you end up, you go there, you want to buy 4 items on the list, you come back with a huge trolley of things saying, oh, I had these things I have seen after a long time, and why not try these things? This something is new in the market. And now we also have our home delivery apps. So we can order at the expense of nothing, just sitting at home, clicking, and there is a home delivery that comes at home. So there is super inactivity, and there is loads of energy that is coming in. So what do you expect? There is no negative energy balance. Next. So yes, when it comes to healthy food, we always say that eat those traditional recipes according to season, according to your health condition, according to your weight, obviously according to the physiological state of your body, whether you are pregnant, you're lactating, or whether you are into a premenopausal state, a menopausal state. And believe me, there are so many women above 40s who are doing their programs so well, because they are just eating right. They are not doing anything else, but they're just eating right. And they have super happy and glowing faces who every week tell me that, yes, I've lost 1 kg this week. And that's the success of our consultations, I guess. Moving ahead. So yes, this is again a big no-no thing, because we don't want any food colorants, any preservatives, any maida, any excessive salt and all those things ahead. Next. Yes, so we will always talk about lifestyle because that is one thing which everybody has in their own pattern. In one house also you will have 3 to 4 people who have different sleep and wake cycles, who want, someone wants their breakfast at 8 o'clock, someone wants to eat it at 12 o'clock, and someone is a night owl and they keep on eating the whole night. So, that is all about what you are doing with yourself. So it always counts on every single step that you are holding for yourself. Next. So into lifestyle modifications, as everyone else also has spoken, sleep, a good quality sleep of at least 7 hours, 7 to 8 hours in the night time. In the night time is very important because it is repairing and healing your body. A proper rest time within your working hours is also important because with the new technology, we need to keep away from the screen effect, the blue screen effect as far as possible. As your work hours are over, we are just scrolling down through our mobiles because we want to see what is happening on the media, who is updating what on WhatsApp. So we need to have some detox time so that we will do rest of the things properly. And it is really having a huge toll on everybody's sleep these days. So I think if we have a good night's sleep, we always have a productive next day. A regular exercise regimen. Now, by exercise, we don't mean y'all hitting the gym all the time. You can be self-motivated by doing a combination of exercises. It can be 2 days of yoga, 2 days of brisk walking and jogging, depending on what is your weight. It can be cycling, swimming, and gym for 2 to 3 days if you are actually working on your muscle activation or you have any other fitness goals. So a regular exercise goes a long way. At least keep a routine of 5 hours to do where you work out for 5 days and you rest for 2 days. That is also enough. Next on the list is vitamins and minerals. Yes, these are very much essential for the functioning of our body. So we always focus on 80% of nutritional value from our foods and 20% from the vitamin and mineral supplements because they come in a therapeutic value. So one pill that gives you 500 mg will always give you 500 mg versus a plate of something. We don't know what is the absorption rate of your body. We don't know how much time you have cooked it. So the absorption, assimilation, everything is a little compromised. So good vitamin mineral supplements under supervision are required. You cannot just take supplements over the counter on anything because there is something called as fat soluble vitamins, something called as water soluble vitamins. So you cannot have toxicity of all these things which are not required actually. Now, next we have a lot of medications also. I think our houses, everybody has arcrocine, paracetamol, and diclofenac and antacids. So these things are kept for emergencies, but then do check how often are you having them throughout the week. So if you are needing medications a lot of time, there is something going wrong somewhere. So instead of just taking the pills without any consultations, you are trying to damage not only your liver, your kidneys, everything is loaded with your toxins of drugs. So that also has a lot of impact. And yes, when it comes to toxins and chemicals, we also talk about heavy metal toxications, which are coming from our utensils, our plastics that are being used. So utensils per se, your Teflon, your non-stick, your aluminum, everything is putting in unwanted metals. And your plastic containers, bottles, we all have a habit of taking plastic water bottles when we are going out, right? Because we find them very light. We don't carry any steel bottles or glass bottles for that matter. But that thing is leaching into your water or your food, whatever you're taking. So that is causing a huge impact on your hormonal systems. Also, there is a huge gimmick on the marketing strategies of proteins that are available. There is, I don't want to name any companies, but we all know that how things are working outside. When somebody wants to do something, the first thing is advised is, yeah, go on a meal replacement, take some protein shake. So is it really required to take such highly processed protein shakes when we can actually have our medicines from our cooked food? So that is very important to avoid those. And lastly, and which is the first point, also manage stress. So now stress is something everybody perceives in a different way. So you have to segregate yourself on what is your perception and how can you manage it. So there are various ways, as we say, there is meditation which is simple but which is very much kept away, because everybody thinks, oh, meditation has to be done by very much spiritual people and all those things. But meditation is very relaxing. Once you start doing it, you will understand the cognitive as well as the stress relieving factors of meditation. Next, you also have to be with nature, I would say, when we are managing stress. Try to be with the natural sleep wake cycle of our day and night. That is more than enough to adjust our body clock and our circadian rhythms. We also can have some hobbies for yourself, that is walking into nature, doing some grounding work by walking without your footwear on the lawn, on the ground, by doing some painting, some writing. All of these things are going to help you relieve your the pressures that you take throughout the day. Next slide. Yeah, so we had a few questions which I have added here. So I think I have covered all the things for above 40s aspects pertaining to obesity. So it is not only about obesity, it is about every single thing that women are facing today. So we don't want any harsh diets, obviously. No fasting is going to help you lose weight. Tejasvi was asking it. We have generally covered all these things, but we have to go with something called as personal nutrition, and we need to have a routine aligned towards it properly so that we are achieving our goals. Next slide. Yeah, so on a ending note, I would just like to tell you that our bodies are really very magical. We are the ones who are changing the whole environment of the internal system, and it is only our behavioral change and lifestyle practices that is going to help us a long way. We want a good quality of life. We don't want something which is burdened with so many hospitalizations and the stress of just being sick and ill. We want women with the whole vibrant energies living their lives on their own terms. And I hope with this, I have been able to give some